Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to Pro Play Games YouTube channel. This is Daniel Altavilla here on the sponsored pro team for Pokemon. Today I have for you a standard deck pre-rotation for the World Championships or the Anaheim Open. This is a list off of CutterTap.com from Finnegan Lynch, who is also on Pro Play Games. Finn made this deck. I changed, I think, 2 cards, but for the most part it's his list. This is a Volcanion Turtonator deck with Kiawe, and let's get right into it. So we have 3 Turtonator GX. Turtonator is a multi-use card. It's splashable in plenty of decks because Shell Trap takes a DCE to use. Here, let me just pull one up here. Shell Trap takes a DCE to use. It does 20, and it says during your opponent's next turn, if they try to attack Turtonator, even if he's knocked out, you put 8 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So getting pretty much 100 damage out of Turtonator is pretty good with that. And with Steam Up from Volcanion EX, Turtonator Shell Trap can do 50, 80, 110. So imagine doing 110 for 2 energies, and then if they attack you, they get knocked out. That's pretty plus, so... but that's not really where Turtonator shines. It is one option, but we have Bright Flame, 160, discard 2 fires from this Pokemon. One thing about Volcanion is we've never really had an issue with base damage because Steam Up brings us above and beyond what our base damage is supposed to be. So now that we have Choice Band, now that we have 160 base damage and an attack from a Fire-type GX, we pretty much don't really even need Steam Up sometimes. So being able to hit 190 with just a Choice Band is pretty good. Steam Up just lets us, hit those like crazy numbers. We can one-shot Wailord EX, we can one-shot some of these crazy high HP Megas, so we pretty much can just go above and beyond. And then we have Nitro Tank GX, attach 5 fires from your discard pile to your Pokemon any way you like. That is the one and only GX attack that this deck would ever really use, and probably the best attack on Turtonator. We have 3 Volcanion EX. Everyone should be quite familiar with this guy. His ability Steam Up says discard a fire from your hand. If you do, your basic fire Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active, and he attacks for 130. He is the bread and butter of the deck. You get fire energies, you discard said fire energies, you add 30 damage per fire energy discarded to your attack, and you just hit crazy numbers really early. We have 2 Baby Volcanion. What Baby Volcanion does is, well, first of all, it has 130 HP on a basic, and that is usually not really, a thing in Pokemon. Like, they implemented this, I believe, in the Black and White era. They started printing Pokemon with, like, crazy HP as basics that aren't even EX. Basics usually have 50, 60, 70, sometimes even 40, in Magikarp's case 30. So 130 is a pretty big wall to get behind. We have Power Heater, choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, attach fire from your discard to each of those Pokemon, and then Steam Artillery for 100. So what we do is we Steam Up, we use Power Heater for 20, and then 50, and then 80, and then 110, with Choice Band up to 140. So while filling up our bench Pokemon, we're getting 2 shots on GXs and stuff like that. So Baby Volcanion is a really good card, and Steam Artillery late game can be devastating. So here we have a new card from Burning Shadows, a Ho-Oh GX. Ho-Oh is a card that Finn didn't include in his original list. I don't know why. He probably just doesn't like Phoenix Burn. But it's the same exact thing as Volcanic Heat, and with 50 more damage being added. The 4 energy cost is kind of lame, but that's something you gotta deal with. 190 HP is very good. This Pokemon is actually weak to Lightning, as you can see. Everyone else in the deck's weak to Water, so if you are facing a Water-heavy deck, you could just use Ho-Oh, weak to Lightning, probably get 2 attacks off with it, which could net you 4 prizes off 1 Pokemon. So this is a very good card. The ability to do 50 to one of your opponent's Pokemon with Sacred Fire is really good. You can snipe Combees and stuff off the bench, and it actually comes into play so often. Sacred Fire for 50, set up a Power Heater next turn for 140, that's 190, and there's definitely synergy there. So Azul Griego, made top 8 in Madison with a Volcanion list with, I believe, 4 Brooklet Hill and Starmie. The reason Starmie's running this list, there's 2 reasons. One, it's to abuse Brooklet Hill's ability to search out a Water-type Pokemon. So not only can we grab our Volcanion EX, but we can also grab Staryu here. The other reason for Starmie is Space Beacon. Space Beacon says you could discard a card from your hand. If you do, put 2 basic energies from your discard into your hand. So Volcanion used to play Energy Retrieval. Now it plays Starmie because we don't want to feed Trashalanche. And then, of course, we just play 2 Tapu Lele. It's for consistency. It's for Wonder Tag. We don't really use Energy Drive with it. The option's there, but it's not our best attacker. So that's the Pokemon. As far as trainers go, we have 4 Professor Sycamore. We have 3N. Oh, 3N. So I know some people are probably gonna disagree with 4 Sycamore, 3N. Some Volcanion players like going down to 2N. The way I see it, I wanted to go up to 4N, but there's just no room. 3N is good, it's standard, whatever. 2N you just can't do, but a lot of the time I see myself playing this deck and then just not having a supporter. So going up to 4N is advised if you can find room. My fastest drop would either be a baby Volcanion or the Ho-Oh, but then again that could sacrifice you know, good attackers in certain matchups for what? I mean, for all around consistency, yeah, but you know, we're trying to make this deck as good as it can be all around. So we have 2 Kiawe. Kiawe is a newer card, straight out of Burning Shadows. These are proxies. I own Kiawe, but I just haven't switched them out of the deck yet, but it's fine. It looks exactly the same. What Kiawe does is it lets us search our deck for 4 fires, attach them to one of our Pokemon, shuffle our deck, and our turn ends. So what you do is, turn 1, if you have the option to Kiawe, you go for it. As long as your opponent isn't, you know, threatening, or sorry, isn't like, how do I put it? As long as your opponent isn't pressuring you in any way, you could keep using Kiawe, setting up attackers. But as soon as you see 1 energy down on a Drampa GX or something, maybe you don't want to use Kiawe, because it's kind of scary, like giving yourself, you know, four energies on a Ho-Oh or 3 energies on a Turtonator just for it to get knocked out on the next turn. So I would be cautious with my Kiawes, but as long as your opponent isn't applying any pressure, you can abuse Kiawe as much as you want. So if your opponent has a, you know, like a hand where they just go attach energy pass because they're sitting on 3 DCs and a Sycamore or something, which happens, you know, not too often, but it does happen, then you can Kiawe as many times as you want. And each time you Kiawe, your chances of winning that game go up, you know, a little bit. So next we have 2 Guzma. Guzma's also a new Burning Shadow card, and these are also proxies. So how Guzma works is switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. If you do, switch your active with one of your benched. So it's a Lysander effect and a switch card all in one. This card is way too good. It's making every deck better, especially Volcanion, because of Volcanic Heat and Ho-Oh's Phoenix Burn. Guzma is a card that I would advise at 2 in this deck, and Finn also plays 1 Lysander. I like this line. 3 Lysander effects are really good, and the Guzma, alright, so pretty much what you could say is the deck used to play Olympia, the deck used to play 2 Lysander. So now we play, you know, Lysander, second Lysander, Olympia. So it's not really taking up any extra room, and we get 3 Lysander effects, which can always be really good in this deck. 1 Hex Maniac. Hex Maniac is kind of specific for the Anaheim Open and for Worlds, because we want to shut off Gardevoir's ability to use Secret Fountain, or whatever it's called, to attach Fairy Energies to the active Pokemon. We're a little worried about Gardevoir. We don't want them setting up and one-shotting our Turtonator after using our 160 attack. We want to be able to shut off Greninja. We want to be able to shut off Decidueye, Vileplume. Other things we could shut off is Vespiquen. We attack with Baby Volcanion, with Power Heater, get a knockout, set up 2 Pokemon on the bench, Hex Maniac in the same turn, and they can't really, you know, threaten a second attacker. It shuts off Vaporeon for a turn. It's just a really well-rounded card. It's good in so many matchups, and Volcanion really wasn't abusing it, but now that we have a good excuse to abuse it, I don't see any reason not to play it. So, to accompany our supporters, we have 3 VS Seeker. I'm going to miss this card. I don't know if I'm going to post it here yet, But I do have a post-rotation list for Volcanion with no VS Seeker that's still extremely good. It'll be a great force in the meta. So I'm going to miss this card, but for now we have our 3. Don't need 4 because of Trash Launch. We don't want to feel that. We have 4 Ultra Ball. That's a standard lineup. I wouldn't really bring it down to 3 at all, except to put in another Brooklet Hill, but even then, we want to be able to search out Turtonator. 3 Max Elixir, so we could Kiawe turn 1, and then Max Elixir every turn after, and set up as many attackers as possible. 2 Fighting Fury Belt. Fighting Fury Belt gives us 40 more HP. It turns our Turtonator from a 190 HP powerhouse, since 180 is the magic number in this format, into a 230 HP tank, which is well out of reach for plenty of cards, even with Kukui and stuff. 2 Choice Band. Choice Band is just, you know, a huge damage modifier. 30 damage is so big, especially now. Like I said, 180 is a magic number. Volcanion can hit well beyond 180. With Choice Band, we have 2 Floatstone. Finn plays Floatstones and 2 Guzma, and he does not play a switch or an escape rope. Not sure how much I agree with it, but I've been testing it and I haven't had an issue thus far. So hopefully, you know, there won't be an issue, period. If you don't agree with that, I would suggest maybe just dropping the Lysander or one of the Guzmas for a switching card, but I don't think you need it so far. 2 Field Blower, because we're worried about Garbotoxin, we're worried about Fighting Fury Belt, we want to get rid of Choice Bands and Floatstones. Field Blower is also good for Silent Lab. Gardevoir's playing Silent Lab, and we want to get rid of that pesky card. Greninja could be playing it too. But mostly it's for Garbotoxin, Silent Lab. Everything else is just, you know, a bonus. I would go down to 1 Field Blower post-rotation, because I don't see Garbotoxin. I don't predict it'll have much play in the future, but for now we're going to keep it at 2. 1 Rescue Stretcher. It's just like, if we really need to get something out of our discard, we can. We only play the 3 Volcanion, as you notice, so we want to be able to stretcher them in if, you know, 1 gets prized, 1 gets knocked out, and we're stuck with 1, but we need 2, you know. It's just a safety card. This could easily be a 4th Volcanion, but Rescue Stretcher just has so much potential use. 2 Brooklet Hill. That is how we search out our Volcanion and our Staryu. It is consistent. It's really great, and I don't really see another stadium being better. You could run Scorched Earth, but right now I think Brooklet Hill's the play. Like, we want to devote our fire energies to our attackers with Kiawe, and we don't usually have too many in hand since we're taking 4 out, you know, in the beginning. We don't have too many disposable fires, so Scorched Earth might not be, you know, the best choice as of right now. We have, let's see, we have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fire energy, and 1 burning energy, so 13 energies total. I think Azul ran 14 fire energies in his Wisconsin list. That's a little too much for us. Staryu and 13 energy, you know, we're never going to have an issue with energy. Obviously, we need a lot for Volcanion, especially with Kiawe. If you draw some and prize some, you're not going to have too many to go off of. So we want as many as possible, but also we want to utilize burning energy in this format. This card says, if this card is discarded by an attack of the fire Pokemon this card is attached to, attach this card from your discard pile to that Pokemon after attacking. Why is no one using it? I don't know, but here's the use. So we use Bright Flame, discard 2 fires, one of them being burning energy. Then we just reattach burning energy to Turtonator with its ability, and as long as this Turtonator is alive and they don't have Enhanced Hammer, this burning energy is alive. So you can go Bright Flame, discard 2 energies, put burning energy back on, attach for turn, next turn, and be ready to Bright Flame again. A lot of the times when I see Volcanion decks use Bright Flame, they just always only have 1 energy on their Turtonator afterwards, so they never get another attack off. So this changes that. I would not bring it up more because we want to utilize Steam Up and Kiawe and Power Heater, but I would keep it at 1 for right now because we run a really heavy Turtonator line. So here's the list. See if I can get it all in the shot here. Alright, that is the Volcanion deck. I hope you guys like it. Hopefully I see people using it at the Anaheim Open or at Worlds. Shout out to Finn, CutterTap, for the list. And shout out to Pro Play and Ultra Pro for the chance to put it up on their YouTube and share it with you guys. If you have any questions, let me know, and have a good one.
I played just double Dragoons, 3 of these, just 1 and 1.